brought you on to talk about Xbox One, end of the year review. I think this year was also a big turnaround for Xbox One, or at least, again, I mentioned this earlier when we were talking about the Wii U with the Switch announcement. I think the Xbox, how do you even say it? Project Scorpio or Xbox Project Scorpio or Xbox Scorpio, Xbox One Scorpio.
Stop saying Xbox and Scorpio right now.
Yeah. Why didn't you stop me before that? I'm going to keep going. All right, so the Scorpio was announced. And, you know, like, it from what they've said, it's going to be more powerful than the PS4 Pro, which was released, which we'll get into in the last segment today. But I think that lent some optimism. But I think Xbox also had, outside of its exclusives, a good year in general. I think they made good on promises. I think, like, you know, like, they still, I think since it released, they've been trying to repair the damage they did, or at least like that fans thought they did when they first announced the console, right? With all those like family share plans and like always online fiasco, Connect,
which is dead.
Yeah, I know like Chris Pereira, one of our news editors, just like won't ever shut up about Connect. I think he's just lost it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I did want to talk about, but with the Xbox One S, which has released, it's not just an announcement. That was released, and that, I think, just like between the, you know, downsizing the Xbox One, in terms of hardware improvements, can you talk about that? Are there any? Are they noticeable?
There's some slight technical upgrades inside that some developers are quietly taking advantage of. Okay. Nothing like vastly noticeable. But it was the first console that came to with HDR, which now PlayStation has as well. It was sort of enabled with a firmware update after the Slim or after the Pro was launched, either way. But yeah, the One S is just a super handsome looking Xbox. It doesn't seem like this big bulky thing that you're trying to cram somewhere.
A VCR.
Right. And it's also like one of the first and like the cheapest standalone UHD, you know, 4K Blu-ray players.
Yeah.
Which the PlayStation 4 Pro came out. Sony is one of the pioneers of the Blu-ray format, and they don't even have that in their system.
And their top-end console doesn't even have it.
Right.
Which is super weird.
Super weird.
Did we ever figure out why? I don't want to get too much into Sony stuff. But
I feel like someone brought up a good point, but I can't recall.
Because Microsoft stole it from them and brought it to their laboratory and crafted like the Xbox One S.
Holding back for like the next.
No, I don't think.
It seems like an inopportune time to do that. But yeah, it is a great console. I mean, it can stand vertically now if you're into that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what it's doing. Yeah, I don't know. I find it a much more attractive console, and I find it much easier to use. Jake Decker, my roommate and coworker, has an Xbox One, like a launch day Xbox One, and he's probably listening right now and like hating himself.
But they still need to work on this OS. This
why?
OS is a mess.
They have improved it slightly, but that's not saying much because it's
you
still
can polish a turd.
it's still slow. It's still
I thought so. I thought you were right, and then I realized I think you're wrong. Like why? Like
change of heart.
It is just. It looks cooler, and you think it's there, but for some reason, it is so difficult. It's like 4 steps to get to your library of games.
Mm-hmm.
And
or to redeem a code.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No
it's
idea
just so
how.
many things.
Go to Mordor, toss the ring in the fire, come back. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, it's tough.
But I would say like another cool thing is it was nice to see a lot of, I mean, probably because they had to, right? But a lot of awesome bundles. Like they were going for pretty damn good prices, right? Like Battlefield 1, like endless, I don't know what packages they were called, but
there was so many of them.
There
like sometimes
so
it was like,
many.
here's 3 games with your console.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's if you're looking to buy one of those, like that, there was a window of like these things just like hotcakes, you know?
What do you guys think of the Xbox Play Anywhere program, which is just crossplay between Windows 10 and Xbox One?
It's messy.
Have you tried?
Apparently, cross saves don't work on Dead Rising 4.
Really?
Yeah.
The most a game that released today?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
That's what I've heard anyway.
I remember with I think it was Gears of War Ultimate Edition. They were really pushing it, and I tried it out.
That was like
and
the
it was
first
kind
one,
of
right?
messy. That was, I believe so. That was last year, and it always just felt like they were just trying to push Windows 10 because like they're doing that, and then of course you get that window that pops up all the time that annoys you in that way. So they're kind of, it's like a 2-tiered approach. I'm being negative.
Yeah.
No, but
the two ones I tried that actually were pretty damn good was Forza was seamless.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was going back and forth between Xbox One and PC, like office and home, like no big deal at all.
I had a good experience with Gears 4.
Okay.
It didn't have any big hiccups at all. I think any hiccups I had was just updating Windows 10 or something.
And Forge was a kind of a unique one too, right?
Oh, like, Halo 5, right?
Being
and
able
then
to
custom
go nuts
games too.
Yeah, custom games, which is they're releasing their next update for Halo. It's just like this game's on PC now. You know, like you're able to find custom matches, which are like that's huge. I mean, that's multiplayer.
It seems weird to bring that up because it's so niche, right? Halo Forge, but it does feel like that's where it's supposed to be on PC. The ease that you can just like click and drag things, move around the map, creating these maps. People are creating like Star Wars Endor maps. People are creating these intro cutscenes with Darth Vader burning on the pyre. People were just creating crazy things like giant, like full-scale foosball tables that you're walking around and playing on. But it does feel like that's where that kind of, found its home. But I do want to talk about backwards compatibility. I think this year was the year that it just like exploded. Microsoft, was promising hundreds more on the way. We're like, what does that really mean? But they really have. It's been like at least 3 a week, it seems like. And then I think I read a news story that we published in October, and it was twice a week. I think that's happened a lot. Actually, we'll just be like, oh, they just released, Red Dead Redemption or Mass Effect 3, Gears of War, the entire trilogy, which that came out with like Ultimate Edition and whatnot. But yeah, they've been making good on this promise. I think the library is at least 300 right now. Reading through it earlier, I went in thinking maybe we could touch on most of them. I was like, no, it would take hours to get into them. Just last week they put what they get into. I mean, like Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion was recent, Injustice Gods Among Us, Dead Space, Fable 2, Fallout 3, again, the Gears of War trilogy, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, Portal 2, Rayman Origins, Spelunky, The Witcher 2. If you have any games that you want to play on 360, again, like Black Ops 2, I think is the one people have been asking about the most, and they haven't done it yet, but odds are if you want to play a 360 game on Xbox One, it's a pretty good chance you'll have it.
It's physical and digital too. And unlike Sony, who, oh my God, they could easily have PS1 games playable if you stick a disc in the system. That's not a thing. You can play PS2 games, but you have to buy them again. Like with Xbox One, the games that you already own work, that you don't have to do anything. So Microsoft is going out of their way to do something that's good for the fans and then making it as easy as possible for them to realize that once it's finally available, which is just amazing. It's incredible. Like they deserve I think the most credit for that this year.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a big event. I remember when Mass Effect 3 came to Xbox One, I think we did a live stream or something. It's always like, oh shit, this is up. It's like you almost forget that they're constantly pouring these into the Xbox One, but then when like one of your favorite 360 or Xbox games or even like old school, like Symphony of Night came to Xbox One. I've been playing that in 360 for like 4 years, and I was like, holy shit, I should just go play that because I have my Xbox One hooked up. I want to play that game. I might as well play that in that format. It's just a new excuse to do so. And it feels like Microsoft has really been making good on the promise to keep that library, just like fueled.
It's a pretty damn cool feeling to like, I just now turned on the Xbox One and actually went through like all of my digital purchases, and you just scroll through, it's like, oh shit, I have that game. And that was a decade ago, right? Yeah. Or more. It's like, wow, it's there, because that's a big concern, right? Like there have been many times where I've bought a movie, even like on iTunes, and like lost my account or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you think you're doing digital purchases and it's safe, but not always. And this is like clear cut, like example of like this is, again, a decade later, and it's like they are.
I'm still buying like digital stuff that Sony puts on sale for like PS3, and then I realize, crap, now I gotta hook up my PS3 to play this.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Whereas like Xbox, you scroll into your library, like Kingdom for Keflings, what the hell are you doing here? And then you just, I don't play it.
It's a game I haven't thought of in a while.
Dude, and saves are transferring too. Like Mass Effect 1, I was playing, I'd played 2, 3, and then like was like, I gotta try 1 because I love that series so much. And
sorry,
what
was a while ago.
I'm sorry, Mass Effect.
Oh, okay.
And
I might have missed that.
I think that was one of the first games they actually had backwards compatible, and there's my save from the Xbox 360. Like,
yeah,
the power of the cloud.
I mean, Red Dead Redemption releasing on that was big with the Red Dead Redemption 2 release announcement. I wish that released about a month or two ago. We did that live stream and everything. Played Red Dead Redemption on Xbox One.
Went great.
Felt fine. Different controller and console, but same experience.
It's nice. Great. Yeah, it's nice to like. Not, if you wanted to like rekindle that fire when the game eventually comes out, you don't have to buy it again, right? Yeah. Like it's there with your save. Yeah. Cool.
So backwards compatibility, definitely one of the high points of Xbox One this year, and judged on the last few months, we can see a lot more of those releasing. I do want to touch on the software though. There are a few exclusives and everything. Obviously, there are a few shared titles between the platforms, but Pete, you reviewed Quantum Break.
All right.
Thought it was all right. I think it was pretty divisive, right? Like a few outlets really liked it, which was surprising because I played it. I didn't really love it. I think it was pretty unremarkable, especially you see games like like I don't want to spoil this now. You see other games doing like time control pretty well, and Quantum Break didn't seem to do anything. It seemed like more spectacle and everything.
There's a lot of spectacle, and it led to some interesting stuff. But I think what everyone really took away from that game was like, hey, this thing uses TV episodes and mixes it with gameplay, and you can kind of tell that like the share of like the resources that went into this thing like weren't even, and at some points were probably like missing, like cars repeating shot from shot during a car chase scene in the TV show.
Oh yeah,
you know,
Just low budget type stuff.
Just low budget stuff that made you like not really care about the show, and then some like kind of poor acting and writing as well. But then, yeah, the gameplay was super boring because you'd be in combat and have these great abilities, and that was pretty good. There were some problems in there, but then you'd be outside like rewinding time to like move a 2x4 so you could cross over a dumpster. Like, oh god, to talk about deflating. Like, yeah, not the best exclusive to hang your hat on.
Yeah, your review is up on the site. People can go read more in depth on that if they want to. Gears of War 4 I reviewed. Thought it was a good game. I really like Horde mode. I think, it's the developer of the Coalition with Rod Ferguson, who initially founded Black Tusk, but then, of course, became the Coalition when they got the Gears of War franchise. A lot of Gears of War veterans were working on it. I think this game was great in a lot of ways. They perfected Horde, I think. The campaign was fun, but I think it was pretty unremarkable. And then, multiplayer, they added a few new modes and made, Gears of War multiplayer even better than it already was. I don't think they changed too much. I know a lot of people loved this game, and I don't blame them. It's there's a lot to like. Forza Horizon 3, we've all played at least a little bit, right? Took this open world racing and kind of just made it this huge Australian wilderness that you could drive through, doing side quests and whatnot. What did you guys think of this game? Rob, you played it a little bit, right?
I played it more than I thought I would.
Right.
I'm not like a huge racing fan, but it's hard for me to compare it to its predecessor. Yet there was just something about what kept me going in this open world was that it was a really awesome open world, and the diversity and tasks and moment-to-moment features were just so plentiful that I just found myself glued to it. You had such freedom. You could just, fly through a vineyard or look for a new car. You could find, just race people randomly on the road. There was something about like just consistently driving, and it's realistic, but it's also a lot of fun. And that's where they didn't hold anything back. And it kind of like, to me, makes me feel like, it makes me wish, we all wish we could go 120 on 280, like we can't, but
Jesus, take the wheel, Rob.
Right, just like no hands, do it, right? There's something about that. It kind of like it tickles that fantasy of just like going fast.
It looks so good.
It
looks
it's
so
freedom.
good.
Yeah, definitely.
Such a smooth experience and just pleasant to exist in, and just be there. Like having played a lot of The Crew, which kind of tackles a similar sort of like gameplay promise. It's just the moment to moment in Forza Horizon just feels so much better in almost every regard.
Yeah, we've been talking, obviously this week we've been looking back at all the releases this year, and every time we talk about Forza, it's kind of the racing game that made racing game fans out of people who might not otherwise be. And I think Forza does that consistently, but definitely Forza Horizon 3, especially this year.
The online components are really awesome too. I was definitely like into the free roam and seeing like just packs of guys just like tearing up on the runway out in the desert or the outback, or seeing one of my friends who's playing like got a new time trial on this race. Do you want to like? It'll just say like, do you want to try top him?
Yeah,
and I'm like, damn right. Like that's just actually in the single player. Now I think about it, like it's just a nice mixture between the two. Like, it's fun. It's a really fun game.
To touch on one more exclusive before we close the segment out, Recore, Keiji, under the supervision of Keiji Inafune of Mega Man and Mighty Number 9 fame, or in fame, didn't really deliver. It seemed promising in a few respects before release. It seemed like this blend of kind of a Metroid Prime game which had Metroid Prime developers on it, from what I understand as well, and then like kind of Mega Man 3D Mega Man combat. From what I played, it just didn't really connect. I don't think it came to fruition. Timur Hussein, the UK editor, I believe, reviewed it, and I think he felt, similar. He didn't feel like, he felt unpolished in a lot of areas, kind of, a little superficial in others. But I mean, it's an interesting game. It's
It's
worth maybe checking out for a couple hours, seeing what you think of it.
If you had a big fondness for the sort of stuff we saw when the PlayStation 2 was around, this game kind of embodies a lot of what those games did, which was very familiar, kind of accessible action shooting gameplay in this regard, with some polish, with some spectacle added onto it. And I don't think anyone's going to argue that this game doesn't have that. It's just like very pure, simple, fun action stuff. The thing that Tamor and a lot of other people hung up on was that you have to collect these orbs like throughout the world to I think beat the game.
Yeah.
And it is like you pass by these environments and you could have got them in the first place, but the game doesn't really give you any hint as to how to find them. And so at the end of the game, it's like, all right, you got to go find them all. Sorry.
Sure.
Like it just doesn't seem like they were able to take it to, it didn't go full stop, right? It just kind of like got somewhere and was like, well, we just need to push this out. We told people it'd be out. They're excited for it. We don't want to make them worry.
Sure. Kind of a disappointment, at least for me, and like you said, for you and a lot of other people, and Tamor and everything. And it just doesn't, I don't know, didn't really deliver. But you can play it. You can check it out if you want. And Xbox One, with the Scorpio, I almost said it again, Xbox One Scorpio. With Scorpio on the horizon, we, just like the Nintendo Switch, there's a lot of promise for the console, for updating it and whatnot, and for Microsoft in general. But if you want to read the reviews for any of those exclusives, go check them out on GameSpot. And the report card for Xbox One is actually up, whether you're watching this live or as a breakout. So you can go read that by Chris Pereira, one of our news editors. Go check that out.